Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here. I feel I live a very gratitude-filled life. I'm very blessed. I've been working a lot
Sometimes gratitude is looking back at something you've overcome.
Yes.
Appreciation is always looking forward. There's a distinction worth noting.
Yes. I wanted to discuss suppressed emotions as they relate to grief. I had an incident that occurred it's a little difficult to talk about.
Well, here's the thing, suppressed emotion. So something keeps coming up and you just don't let yourself think about it?
No, I've actually been allowing the emotion to come up without the story and just let it come out. And
well, here's the question that we have for you in light of everything that we've been talking about here today. So the thoughts occurring to you, you think it's coming from your inner being? Not in a million years.
Some of it.
No, it isn't. It's not coming from your inner being. It's your habit of thought that keeps taking you to a place that you don't want to go or feel. There are so many people that think I've got to dig it up and I got to work it out. I got to work all the bugs out of it. And we say all you're doing is practicing the vibration of it longer and bringing something that you didn't want from before right here where you are.
I can be going along in my life for a year and a half and all of a sudden an emotion will come up and trigger the memory.
But here's the thing, the emotion didn't just come up. You prepared the groundwork for it to come up. You were watching some television program, you were listening to some old crappy music, something going on in your experience that got you ready to be ready for it. And so when it comes, don't work harder on it. Don't think further about it. In other words, just do your best to release that thought. And the only way that we know that anybody can release a thought is to replace it with a different thought.
I think I'm having trouble with that.
So really what we want to say to you is, because when you say it came up and it overtook me, what do? We want to say you got to write it out. There's nothing else you can do. But you could prepare yourself so it doesn't keep coming up. You could make so many other things the active thing going on in your vibration. There's just not time on this playlist for all of those things, wanted and unwanted. This is a universe that's based upon inclusion only. There's no exclusion. You cannot push something away. And so when it comes up, if you don't like it, acknowledge that you don't like it, and then make a decision that you are going to prepare yourself differently and bring something else to the table. Every now and again, Esther will have a thought about something that has happened in the past, that she didn't like it when it was happening, and she doesn't like it now that she's remembering it. And you've got a choice right now. You can focus on it and bring the memory further forward and into fuller, or you can sort of shake it off in the early subtle stages. And the more you meditate, the fewer times those thoughts will come to you. And if they do come by virtue of some other association, it will be easier for you to make a determination. In every moment, you have a choice. You don't exercise it sometimes because you can't. Hear this. You can't exercise your choice of satisfied or unsatisfied if there's strong momentum. But the better you get at catching it in the early subtle stages, then the more you can exercise that choice of satisfying or not satisfying. And if you notice, often when someone's in the hot seat, we don't encourage them to dig up something and try to fix it. Because first of all, it just bums the room out. Second of all, it just aggravates something that they've got going on, and it makes it a harder journey.
Well, and I understand about not wanting to retell the story because it reintegrates that whole.
What do you mean by suppressed emotion?
Suppressed emotion.
Because it's something you made up, somebody else made up, it's not real. Suppressed emotion meaning there's this emotion that I need to deal with that I've been suppressing, and so I need to let it come up so I can deal with it.
Maybe I'm not explaining. Yeah, I'm thinking that my energy is tied up to an event. And
well, anytime you're thinking about an event, your energy is tied to that event. That's the way the law of the universe works.
Okay, I'm done.
In other words, you can't get around that. That's like saying, Abraham, I jumped off the barn. Now, I didn't want to break my leg. I wanted to fly away like the birds do. But I jumped off the barn and I broke my leg. And I think I've got suppressed emotion that I need to deal with. And we say, don't jump off the barn unless you've got a parachute or a motor or something attached to you. In other words, And so it's sort of the same thing. Thoughts that hurt you in the past are going to continue to hurt you when you bring them into the present. And why? Why does anything feel unsatisfactory all the way up to excruciatingly painful?
Because you're not connected to source.
Because you're thinking something in an entirely different way than your inner being is. And so the separation between you and all that you are is accentuated in that moment. And no amount of conversation is going to change that.
I get that.
So you're helping us to say something that we've been wanting to say for a little while. We've been saying to you that what's manifested right here and now is really old news, because this is energy that you've been allowing that's all played out, and here it is. You can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. So this is the fruition that you all want. In other words, it's a wonderful things. Thoughts turning to things, this manifestation. This is why you're on the leading edge of thought. This is what you came for. This is why you are leading edge creators. You want to allow this vibration to turn to thoughts, and these thoughts to turn to experiences, and these experiences to turn to things. In other words, this is what this environment is all about. This is a good thing. But once something has become a reality, it's not as juicy or as interesting to your inner being or to you in your connected state as the things that are still in the process of becoming. That would be like the sculptor having created this magnificent sculpture 10 years ago and nothing since. And so you say, what do you do? And he says, this. I take it with me everywhere. It represents my past, present, and future. All that I am. And we say, is it a lot of fun these days? Not really. I liked it when it was in the idea stage, and I liked it when I was gathering the materials, and I really liked the molding it into being, and I really liked when it was manifested completely. Oh yeah, when was that? 10 years ago. 10 years ago. We're being extreme about this, but there are so many things. You keep wanting to bring what's done forward with you, and it's done. Let it be done. The relationships that are the most delicious are the ones where you just keep finding fault with each other, which just keeps causing you to put more in the vortex, so that you keep having new bouncing off places, so that you keep having new discoveries with each other. Perfect relationship isn't the one where you say, yep, married him 10 years ago. Yep. Still talking about the same things. Enough?
Yes, thank you.
Really
so
good
much.
time for segment of the day.
Thank
And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
Hello, Abraham. I listened to a lot of your stuff with my wife and really appreciate it. And one of the things that you said is talking about things are thoughts and thoughts are things.
They're all different degrees of vibration. In other words, a thing is a more mature thought, and a thought is a more mature vibration, is a progression. And with the progression, momentum, which usually means more time on the subject, or it could mean more precision in the thought, which accomplishes more clarity. A clear thought does not take a long time to accomplish, and the absence of the resistance makes it a stronger thought, therefore ready to mature into something.
So I have this emotional attachment to a belief or an idea, and I'm surrendering it. I'm letting it go. I'm saying, okay, this isn't serving me.
So we want to hear it, and we know that you've still got it, but I have this emotional attachment to a belief. So what you're saying is, I keep activating this vibration, and I keep feeling an emotion around it because my guidance system is working.
Yes.
All right. We don't need to make it so dramatic. When I think this thought, I have this emotional response to it. Yes? All right. We're nitpicking. But is the attachment more to the emotion or to the thought? Because the emotion is the response to the thought. That's all we're pointing out. So I have this thought that I keep thinking. And as I keep thinking it, I keep getting this emotion. And now it's familiar to me. So now I am proclaiming that I have an emotional attachment to a thought. And we're saying, okay.
So I had the idea that perhaps as I was looking at a thought that I wanted to replace with a more positive thought and build some emotional momentum towards a more positive thought, that as I travel through a landscape, I see lots of things, and as I think about stuff, I see lots of thoughts, and that perhaps that I could be as unattached to the thoughts as I am to the things, and allow the most pretty thought to come
You're really
up.
onto something important, and this one phrase would free you from it. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
What happens in humandom is that often you feel like you have to justify where you're going by explaining where you've been or where you are. And we're wanting you to understand that by explaining where you've been and where you are, it just keeps you from going where you want to go. So as you begin saying more things like, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to that. And the reason I'm looking forward to that is because this sucked. Oh. Yeah.
That's it for me.
Yeah, that was
Thank you
good.
very much.
That was really good.